been a little while, but new boots equals new review. And what better way to get things going on the channel again than looking at some brand new Red Wings. Always a channel favourite. If you followed my channel, you know Red Wings' favourite brand, and got a fair few in my collection now. So these are the 8864. They're the RS Setter Sport Boot, and they're Gore-Tex lined. So largely, they're really sort of a rework of the classic 875s, but with a few additions that we'll get into. But just going over the sort of feature set on these are Gore-Tex lined, so that's waterproof, breathable. Gore-Tex is a really well-established product. Had it in a few coats, works really well. Huge number of little tiny pores per square inch. I think it's 9 billion, which sounds absolutely ridiculous, but loads of pores, and basically just allows water vapour out, but moisture is trapped on the outside, so it keeps you both sort of sweat free and dry. So these are about keeping your feet dry in winter. The leather is also described as waterproof. It is a russet tau leather. It's got that really quite red colour. So most Red Wing boots start off pretty tan, pretty brown, but these are really quite a nice red colour, a bit different. Be interesting to see how that ages over time. Obviously it's got the Traction Tread Christie wedge sole, sorry. And finally you've got the Goodyear welt attaching it to the main body of the shoe, so rebuildable, recraftable, much like these. These are my 875s. We'll probably have a little look in comparison of these in a minute, but they've been resold, getting on for 10 years. 10 years old now, I think, those. So it really does help being able to resole your shoes for longevity, sustainability, all that sort of stuff. On the welt there, and we'll get in for some close-ups in a minute, but we've got a storm welt, which means it's just got that little bit of extra water resistant. It's just literally a physical barrier, just stop water getting into the underside of the leather upper there. Yeah, so these are brand new for Red Wings. They're brand new for me. They're released in October this year, so October 2021, and I believe they're a limited edition. Not quite sure on that, but I think they are a limited edition, and that probably explains why they've come in this sort of retro heritage box. Nice RS Setter graphics on the end there, but I think that does hint towards it being a limited edition release. Premium price, so these are probably some of them, well, they're definitely the most expensive mocks you can get from Red Wing, so more so than the 1907s and the Sawmills, which we'll also talk about in a minute. But these come in, I think, in the UK for $329. So that is some of the more expensive Red Wings that you can pick up, probably with the exception of the Beckman. These were provided very kindly by my friends down at Herring Shoes. Really good Devon retailer, do brilliant web store. Premium price, but discount code below which will get you 10% off. Free shipping, free returns. They're really, really good to deal with. Yeah, very kindly provided these for review. So just moving on to how they fit. So I've had a quick try on. These are the 23 last, which is actually the same as the 875s. These are very well worn, as I said, getting on for 10 years old, resold, all that sort of stuff. So same last as the 875s, and indeed the Sawmills, which are the 2927s. We'll do a little bit of a ponder in comparison with how these line up with the Sawmills in a minute, but it's the same last as both those. And to be honest, all three boots fit very differently in my opinion. So the 875s, I went true to size, so UK 8 for me. They took a little while to break in, but they've really sort of given quite nicely on the width. I wouldn't have wanted to go down half a size on those. The Sawmills have always been a narrow boot, and I think a lot of people have commented on that. Now I don't know whether that's because it's lined and doesn't give quite as readily, or whether it's actually a slightly different last. It should be the same as both these. But yeah, so your mileage might vary, but my feelings on these are that they've got a little bit more width than the Sawmills or the 875s, a little bit more headroom, so the space above your toes. I think these fit much more like the 1907s. Now the 1907s are built on the 45 last. It's to accommodate an insole, and they're really comfy. They're probably the best mock toes that I've worn in terms of the immediate comfort for Red Wing. So these are a bit more generously sized in my opinion, and the 23 last they've used for these feels different to the others. I've gone true to size, thinking I could probably, and this is the first time on the mocks, different from the round toes, but I reckon I could have gone down half a size maybe on these. But given they're a winter boot, they're there to keep your feet warm and dry. I'll be wearing these with thick socks, so I'm happy to keep with a slightly more generous cut. But if you find 8s are sometimes a little large for you, I reckon go down half a size in these. But yeah, interesting that the 23 last is so very different between the three boots. So I think probably the best thing to do is come in for a few close-ups and we'll look at how these are put together. Just coming in for a few close-ups here, starting from the bottom, working to the top. Obviously you've got the Christie wedge sole there, nice light tread. I do find these wear down pretty quick if you're walking on concrete. Brilliant if you're walking on soft materials. Obviously this was a design which came from the sort of the woodland and farming sort of use of these boots, so it's designed to give you a bit of tread but not to bring in loads of debris as you go back into your home. Really comfy, not having the sort of heel unit, it gives you support all the way across your foot, so good to remove that fatigue, and sort of popular with craftspeople, certainly in the US. UK not so much so, partly because of the price and obviously more normal to have a steel toe in the UK. Got the Stormwelt, so this is a sort of a pre-formed unit, so I'm guessing it's synthetic, it's got to be, hasn't it? So similar to the Sawmill, just to compare that. So very much the same sort of Stormwelt as on the Sawmill. The 1907s are different style again, so that's a bit more crafted, looks like it's leather on those ones. It's got that extra run of stitching, so something a bit different than those. Obviously then you're up to the waterproof russet town leather. I'll be interested to see how this performs. It's not oily at all. It's not oily to the touch. It doesn't sort of pull up. You can't see any oils shifting around in it. So time will tell how that performs, but that's a waterproof leather. Triple stitched on the vamp there. White stitching around the mock toe. Little Gore-Tex branding there to set these boots apart. Nickel eyelets and the classic Red Wing laces. I can't remember what these are called. Tesla or Teslan. I don't know, but basically these laces are some of the best I've ever had. Original pair on the 875s, as I say, that's getting on for probably 10 years old, those boots. Indestructible. Loads of laces I've broken in the past on other boots, but really good, whatever they're called, these nice two-tone jobs here. A little bit of piping around the top there. On these it's got quite a big sort of run-off. I think that's a synthetic piece of material, but they've performed really well on the 875s, so nothing to worry about there. If we just take a look on the inside, there's a few interesting things. The first is that these have two branding labels, so the sort of heritage Irish setter branding at the top there. It's quite nice. And then the more traditional model and sizing label on the inside. First time I've had a sort of a flappy label like that on my Red Wings. We'll see how that wears over time. and then in the bottom corner there you've got the date on which these were made. So these are 06/21, so fairly fresh, June 21. On the inside, you've got a leather top to your tongue, but beyond that, it is a Gore-Tex boot throughout. Whether you can pick this up, the lighting isn't going to do me much favours here, but on the inside sole, it's got a slight quilted effect to it. So by no means a sort of super plush insole, but it is got a little bit of comfort in there. Obviously it's a boot liner which is sort of consistent throughout, otherwise your Gore-Tex wouldn't work. It's got to be a single stitched unit. Obviously you've got the generous bellows tongue, so you're not going to get water ingress until you're up to your last couple of eyelets there. So that should be keeping you pretty dry if this is truly waterproof leather, which it obviously should be. But yeah. Okay, well that's about it. I hope that was useful. So if you're thinking about buying the 8864s, now you know a little bit more about them. As I say, I think these are limited edition, so you might not have long to think about it. If you do live in the UK or Europe, I'd certainly recommend that you check out the Herring Shoes web store. They've currently got these in stock. Discount code below, 10% off, and just really great people to deal with. Yeah, that's about it. But it's nice to be back. I've got a lot of reviews to catch up on. I've got 6-month reviews on a couple of pairs of jeans that I've got to catch up on. I'll do a long-term review on these, which the Sawmills, as we saw earlier. Really, really good boots. Great winter boot. Certainly give the 8864s a run for the money. Really like having a Vibram sole on those. That's my preferred sole. It sort of wears really well. Good off-road, etc. Doesn't look quite as nice as a white wedge, but you know, that is a good sole for longevity. So we'll be doing an update on those. I've got a few torches to do, all sorts of stuff that I've got to catch up on. I've got a nice new Leatherman Wave to look at. So much stuff to catch up on. It's really good to be back, and we'll try and catch up between now and sometime in the new year. Okay, well that's about it. If you haven't seen the channel before, please check it out. Like and subscribe, of course. Might share some other common interests, as I say, torches, boots, denim, all that sort of stuff. Do check it out, and yeah, I'll see you for the next review. Okay, thank you very much. Bye bye.